Good morning. Today we can discuss about next classical economist, that is J.P. Say. His lifetime is considered as 1767 to 1832. He was a French economist. His major work is a treatise on political economy. A treatise on political economy was his major work. We can discuss his ideas. He divides economics into three as production, distribution, and consumption of wealth. He divides economics into three as production, distribution, and consumption of wealth. His law of market states supply creates its own demand. It was very simple law. That time it was discussed many times. It is a famous law. Says law of market state that supply creates its own demand. According to his law, whatever may be produced in the society, it is automatically demanded. Whatever may be produced, it is automatically demanded. Then this law also emphasizes there is no overproduction in the market, no general unemployment, only full employment. So the major ideas of the JPC are his law of market, that is supply creates its own demand. Whatever may be produced in the market, that is automatically demand. So there is no overproduction. Then there is no general unemployment in the society. Classical economists believed only in the full employment. He divides economics into three: production, distribution, and consumption of wealth. Due to there is no overproduction, everything will be demanded. Then people will get more work. So there is no unemployment in the society. He believed this concept. Most of the classical economists primarily believed in the full employment theory. Then, according to his law, it will be profitable to have wide market, for they will increase demand for goods and raise their price. According to Say's law, it will be profitable to have wide market, for they will increase demand for goods and raise their price. He already stated that supply creates its own demand. So whatever may be produced in the market, they will be demanded. So increase in the demand for goods, it is automatically increase in the price also. That we have already studied in the theory of demand in microeconomics. If demand will increase, price will automatically change. Then everyone should be interested in prosperity of everyone else. So he state every individual in the society must interested to create prosperity for everyone else. Not only for the individual, but all individual must work hard to create prosperity of everyone else. Then interested only in development of industry. He interested only in the development of industry, not in the agriculture. So says J.P. Say more emphasized for the development of industrial sector. Then he believed in automatic adjustment of economy. Automatic adjustment of economy, that is laissez-faire policy. There is no government control. It will be controlled by invisible hand. everything will be adjusted in the economy through automatically. Then more importance to utility in his theory of value. More importance to utility in his theory of value. He all gave utility for the production, utility for the consumption in his theory of value. So his ideas are the economics are divided into three: production, distribution and consumption of wealth. And he says law of market as supply creates its own demand. There is no overproduction, then there is no unemployment. Then if demand will increase, price level also increase. Then everyone should interested in the prosperity of everyone else. Then he recommended for the development of the industry, then believed in the automatic adjustment of the economy, and gave more importance to utility in his theory of value. Then we can check next economist as John Stuart Mill. We can simply call as J.S. Mill. Have you heard this term? His name? Yeah. In the international trade, we studied his theory. He lived during 1806 to 1873. His major works are considered as Principles of Political Economy and Systems of Logic and Autobiography. Principles of Political Economy, Systems of Logic, and his life story, that is autobiography. His major economic concepts are law of self-interest. Law of self-interest. It is also called hedonistic principle. Law of self-interest also called hedonistic principle. It means that every individual desires well-being and each man knows what is good for him. Like other classicals, believed in general harmony of interest. Self-interest theory also called hedonistic principle. It means that every individual desires well-being and each man knows what is good for him. We should know what are the important aspect of our life and what will create well-being for our life. That likewise every individual desires well-being and each man knows what is good for them. And like other classical, he believed in the general harmony of interest. Then next concept is law of free competition. He was strong believer of perfect competition. What are the features of perfect competition? A large number of buyers and sellers, uniform price, freedom of entry and exit. Nobody will control like mono. Then we have already studied absence of selling cost, transportation cost. Likewise, we have already studied the principles of perfect competition, features of perfect competition. So, J.S. Mill strongly believed in the perfect competition. The next concept is law of population. J.S. Mill supported Malthusian theory of population. J.S. Mill supported Malthusian theory of population. Then his next concept is value. Like Ricardo, J.S. Mill also classified value into two as value in use and value in exchange, that we have already studied. Then no need to explain again. Next concept is law of wage. His wage theory associated with wage fund theory. J.S. Mill explained wage theory. It is associated with wage fund theory. Wages depends mainly upon demand and supply of labor. If supply of labor is way more, then wage will be less. but supply of labor will be very less and wage will be high. Then demand for labor is very high, wage will high. Then demand for labor is very less, wage will be less. So demand for labor and supply for labor are the determining factor of the wage for labor. The next concept is law of rent. Law of rent. He asserted Ricardian concept. Rent is a differential surplus. That we have already studied. Ricardian theory of rent. He classified rent into different categories. The quality of land. He also asserted, supported rent theory of Ricardo, and he also stated rent is a differential surplus. As per the quality of the land, we will get more product, and that surplus in the product is the considered as the determining factor of the rent. So these are the concept of the J.S. Mill. Once again, J.S. Mill's major works are Principles of Political Economy, Systems of Logic, and his autobiography. His major concepts are law of self-interest. Every individual must desire for the well-being of the individual, and they believed in the general harmony, general relation. Then law of free competition, law of population, value, law of wage, and law of rent. Next concept is profit. Profit is a surplus after paying wage. Suppose in my hand 500 rupees. I gave labor charge, wage to laborers as 450. Then 50 rupees is balance in my hand. That is my profit. Then international trade. He modified Ricardian theory by adding demand and supply. We have already studied Ricardian comparative cost of international trade. Then he also purified Ricardian theory by adding concept of demand and supply. Then next concept is stationary state. J.S. Mill explained stationary state. Stationary means a stationary position, a balanced position. He believed increase of wealth must come to an end, and the society must enter upon a stationary condition. Mill explained stationary state. He believed increase of wealth must come to an end, and the society must enter upon a stationary condition. If increase our wealth, we must come to an end, and society must enter upon every individual's wealth will increase, and everyone will attain in a welfare position, general equilibrium position, and the society can maintain a balanced system in the economy. So his major concepts are law of self-interest, free competition, that is perfect competition. He supported Malthusian theory of population. Likewise, Ricardo, he also explained value into two as value in use and exchange. Then law of wage. Wage depends mainly upon the demand and supply of labor. Then law of rent. Like Ricardo, he also asserted rent is a differential surplus. Then he explained profit is a surplus after paying wages for laborers. Then he explained international trade by adding demand and supply to Ricardian theory. Then he explained also stationary state for the economy. Okay, we are concluding. Today we have studied say, Jebise and J.S. Mill. Jebise's most famous theory is Say's law of market. His state supply creates its own demand. Then J.S. Mill famous theory is his wage theory and international trade theory. That is by Mill's theory of international trade, that is by adding demand and supply to the concept of Ricardian comparative cost theory. Okay, thank you.